someone's waving a thumb at me. I think we're ready to go. Welcome to A Podful of Saints +1. I'm one of the Saints, David Tavener, and another one of them is Lee Wood. Evening, Lee.
Evening, David. How are you, my friend?
I'm looking at you jealously, to be honest, Lee. You've got your winter warmer on. I don't blame you.
Sorry, Matt. Well, I can't afford the heating, so I thought I'd better whack on another layer. So.
What, you mean that frost on the tree is genuine? And the +1 is Jake Ellacott. Evening, Jake.
Evening, Dave. Evening, everyone. I hope we're all enjoying the Saints
Jake,
at the minute.
Jake,
What?
That is a monumental beard, my friend. Goodness me. What's going on with that?
Well, what can I say? I just can't be bothered. Well, I can't trim it until the Saints win the league.
You look like Cat Weasel by the end of it.
Hide it.
Say it again, sorry.
If you had a face like that, wouldn't you try and hide it?
Well, true.
Oh, that's not even the first time I've been told that today. So,
what a surprise! Right, we've got some games to talk about. 2 games since we last chatted on here. We'll start with last Saturday. We're recording this on Wednesday, by the way, just after 6:30 on the 16th of December. Last Saturday, Tonbridge Angels. We'll start with you, Lee, because you were there amongst the masses, 700 people.
Indeed. I thought it was excellent. Really good. Obviously, you don't really get a good feel for the game when you're watching it on the stream or listening on the radio. It's some of the best football. Seriously, it really, really was. I was impressed. Start wasn't great, don't get me wrong. I thought Tonbridge offered very little. They were really content for us to have the ball. They sat back quite deep. I don't know whether they had plans to hit us on the break, but on the whole, I thought we were excellent. And second half, we really did step it up. Luke Warner-Ely in particular impressed me. He had their right back on toast for large periods of the second half. And Zane again was always off. Am I boring you, Tav? Sorry, mate.
No more than usually.
Well, there you go. But I thought it was absolutely excellent. We attacked with purpose. We really looked to sort of attack them at every opportunity. I know that sounds daft, but they sat back and they tried to make things hard for us. But we picked them off. And it was a well-deserved 3 points.
What about you, and Jay? You got the distraction of thinking up intellectual comments while the game's going on. What did you make of it?
Well, I'm not sure about intellectual. It was a good performance again. Like Lee says, the start was a bit shaky, if we're honest, but I thought we responded really well. Mitchell Weiss was a brilliant header at the near post, absolutely pinpoint. And last season, and probably quite a few seasons, the Saints wouldn't have responded like that. They probably would have struggled to get going. You know, when we go behind early, it reminds me of games like the Whitehawk game a couple of years ago. But we got going, we responded really well, and in the end, pretty comfortable. I mean, Tonbridge, the closest they came pretty much in the second half was that header late on, wasn't it? That I don't really know how they didn't score it. And it was just another really solid performance from the Saints. And again, to repeat Lee, pretty much, Luke Warner-Ely, brilliant, 2 assists. Zane Banton as well, absolutely superb, I think, this season. And Ian, after the game, said it was one of Zane's best ever performances with us. So I think that really says something.
Yeah, that late header was by Joe Turner, according to our Twitter feed, had been substituted 20 minutes earlier. So no wonder we didn't spot him. He came on unnoticed. You both mentioned a slow start there. Both games we did, didn't we? The first 10 minutes or so. We've gone behind, 5 times this season. And the Bishop Stortford game is the only one where we failed to at least save a game, and the other times we've gone on to win it. That's a nice little habit to get into.
It is, absolutely. I mean, when it went in on Saturday, I was a bit concerned because there was a bit of a buzz before the game. Obviously, there was a crowd there, and when it went in, you could actually hear the crowd was like, wait, this wasn't on the script. This is surprising. And the goal was so easy as well for Tonbridge. Just a simple cross in from Greenhow, who we know is always incredibly dangerous. And it was such a simple finish out the back post. And I thought, it's going to be one of those afternoons here. But yeah, we just have really good fight in the team at the minute. Something I haven't seen in us in a very long time.
Were you concerned, Lee, or did you still feel, we're going to turn this around?
I wasn't that concerned, just on the pure basis that they offered nothing else afterwards. You know, they didn't press us. They didn't press us high. They were just more than happy for us to have the ball. And it was only really a matter of time before we equalised. And once we did get the equaliser, great header, you know, we had a few good chances as well. And I'm really disappointed by Tonbridge because I thought they'd have had a bit more about them. Obviously not, but I think it was just a matter of time before we saw it out, and our class shone out in the end, really. And yeah, easy win, really.
You said about Mitchell Vice's header, how he got it in from there. Unbelievable. He got a terrific goal again from a tight angle at Hampton, didn't he? And I was watching him last night, particularly in the first half, and I thought, he's an intelligent footballer. He holds it up well. He brings the others in really well. And then he went and did a couple of stupid things last night. But for a player who was at Kings Langley last season, I know he had a spell at Hemel as well. He's jumped up really well.
I mean, he had the stats the last couple of seasons for Langley, we have to say, but he's stepped up, like you say, and he's been a real gem for us. I mean, when he came in, there was people that told me he looks very good. I was a bit concerned, but he's physical, he's strong, he holds it up, and he's got an eye for goal. And he's brilliant foil for Sean Jeffers, and both of them have clicked together from the start. You know, sometimes it takes players a while, or sometimes they wouldn't link at all, but they're always looking for one another. Weiss is always making the runs if Jeffers holds up, and you know, if Jeffers is making the run, Weiss looks for him. Yeah, I mean, Weiss is probably one of my players of the season so far. Obviously, it's easy to pick one, but I think he's been brilliant.
I'll tell you what I will say, though, is the fact that Weiss is very sort of like head down, all action, isn't he? Whereas Jeffers sort of floats in and out of the game. He has large amounts of the game when he doesn't really affect any of the play. But when he does get the ball, you know there's that instant impact that he's going to make. And I mean, it's a sign of an excellent striker when, you know, you're pretty much anonymous. And then that one touch, two touch combo, and he scores 1 or 2 goals. It's really, really class.
Unfortunately, with stream on Saturday, the club had big problems with it. It was really poor. So you couldn't really gauge what the crowd was like, but it didn't sound like there was a lot of chanting and whatnot. So I suppose you're not allowed to at the moment anyway. But did you really feel they were getting behind the team and you could hear it? Because you couldn't sense it so much on the stream.
We've never really been a massively vocal club at home anyway. There were sort of pockets of singing and chanting, but it was just, I think most people were just pleased to be back in the ground, Tavs, if I'm honest with you, mate. You can see the encouragement. I think it will sort of take a little bit of getting used to. The players as well were responding really well to having fans back in the club. But on the whole, there was not much cheering or sort of anything like that, chanting, but that will come with time.
The organisation seemed good from the reports I've had.
I have to say, the club have done some absolutely scandalous things over the course of the last 6-7 months, mate. But the organisation on Saturday was top class. I felt safe and it felt secure. I have to say, Lee and the volunteers down there have done fantastic work. You felt it was well organised. The one thing I would say is that some people didn't know at half time whether they could change ends. So there were a few people sort of rotating around the ground, but I think reading Lee's programme notes from last night, you know, there are lessons to be learned, but on the whole, it was absolutely top class and fair play.
I think we have to say well done to the supporters as well. I think the vast majority of the crowds distanced themselves well, and almost every fan I saw kept their mask on while in the ground as well, which I think other clubs have had struggles with, and also other clubs don't even enforce it really. So I thought, you know, fair play to the club, and also the fans that came along behaved and made it just brilliant to have fans back.
We're from St Albans though, Jacob. We're not animals, my friend.
Don't know who you could be referring to.
What about getting through the turnstiles? Because it was all tickets purchased in advance. That all go smoothly?
It was fine. There were no turnstiles open. It was the bigger side gates. And there were sort of 2 separate areas where you can go in. You have your temperature checked. Then you go on to show your ticket. There's hand sanitizer. There's wipes. There's everything there. It was an excellent setup and exceptional. Really was.
Excellent. And last night, we went from 700 down to 174. Maybe not that big a surprise. But again, after a slow start, a dominating performance, wasn't it? We really did dominate for the next 80 minutes.
Yeah, the amount of saves that Lewis Carey in the Cray Wanderers goal made was unbelievable. I mean, he was my man of the match from both sides. He pulled off some absolute blinders, and you know, for the 47 minutes that we hadn't scored, I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be difficult. But the game changed on that red card in the end, and, you know, we came away with it fairly comfortably.
From Cray Wanderers' point of view, they had one game since 31st of October, so they couldn't have been match fit or whatever you want to call it, couldn't match sharp. They lost 2 players with injury in the first 40 minutes. They had Lee Lewis sent off on 44, as you say. So unlucky because he was going for the ball. There was no malice in the challenge whatsoever. But last defender, he's caught the player. Off he goes. As you say, that did really change the game.
Yeah, I think the red card was unlucky, you know, as you sort of say. And would it have changed the outcome of the game? Probably not. But Lewis Carey, I'll tell you what, Jake, the performance of Carey in the goal last night reminded me of when we played Kings Langley towards the latter end of last season in one of the county cups, where their goalkeeper, I mean, that could have been another 4 or 5 goals in the tally, but he was sensational. I mean, there was a chance towards the latter end of the first half when it sort of hit Banton and Banton directed it goalwards. He managed to sort of flick it over the bar, absolutely majestic. And without him, it could have been 8, couldn't it? But I thought Solomon was decent last night as well. You know, he's raised the bar again. I just think it was a very professional performance, and I know we earmarked Reece Morel Williamson as maybe being the danger man, but he was pretty quiet on the whole. I think it was good that Ian didn't make too many wholesale changes as well. You know, we're still a relatively young team that needs to gel, and these games will become very fruitful and very beneficial towards the latter end of the season when, you know, more games under the belt, more time in the legs, and there's plenty of time for squad rotation because those fixtures are becoming thick and fast. But last night was really, really good performance. Cray offered nothing, and it was a comfortable win.
Of course, Reece was one of 2 former City players. Jason Banton was the other. He didn't show much when he was with us. But I thought actually the first half last night, he was involved in a lot of their good moves. They didn't come to anything, but he was involved a lot. And I was rather surprised when I took him off midway through the second half.
Yeah, I thought Jason Banton actually, he didn't really show it much of us, but he tried to sort of shift in from the wing into central positions for Cray. And I thought he had quite a lot of joy in there, but didn't quite work like he wanted to. And Reece, I thought, again, he was marked out the game by Warner Ely. I mean, I thought Luke did a brilliant job on him throughout. Luke looked dangerous throughout as well going forward. And Reece, towards the end, he was just having pop shots and they were just getting blocked. And you could just tell that Cray just wasn't going to be their evening. But yeah, the former Saints, for once, didn't come back to haunt us.
Of course, you say about Luke Warner-Ely going attacking down the left, and Devante Stanley, he loves to get forward as well, doesn't he? Down the right.
He does, and I think he's been a bit unlucky. Obviously, he dropped out the side. I think he had a cold, but they had to treat it as a COVID incident just in case. He's come back in for this game, and I think he's really put a stamp on why he could get back into the side. Especially, you know, with Tom Bender now out, which was one of the downsides of Saturday's game that we didn't mention with a dislocated shoulder. Michael Clark might have to shift into the heart of the defence, we don't know, and there might be a chance for Stanley to come in.
Because that third goal last night was pretty mundane, wasn't it? Only 20 passes.
Taz, can I ask you, mate? Are you not going to the games out of choice, or is it just a?
Well, I'm banned from writing down the park for a review by the club, as you know. Yeah. For some reason, but it's beyond common sense. Free publicity, but I don't seem keen on it. So at the moment, I don't know. I'm just taking each game as it comes. I'll probably be at home Saturday. I'll let you lot get wet and cold.
I mean, at least you get to hear me talk all afternoon, eh, Dave? That's what you want.
Yeah, that's why I might go and watch Albans.
A much better choice.
It's funny, you go back a year and we just had the price increases. Fans were extremely unhappy, as we know. We lost 30% of our fans because of it. And there was a lot of dissent. It was an unhappy place on the pitch, and football was really poor last season. We finished it in what would have normally been a relegation season. A year on, you look at us now. We're so confident on the ball. I mean, James Colocci comes out of defence and he looks like Franz Beckenbauer.
That is a comparison I'd never thought I'd hear in my entire life. But,
Dave, have you finally taken up drinking?
Yeah,
I mean, you do say that though, but to be fair, you know, James Cloxy again last night. Did he lose a challenge? Did he lose a header? I mean, he's been a colossus at the back.
No, but who was it there? Number 9, Taylor, whatever his name was. Joe Taylor. He thought he should have had a penalty first minute of the second half, and sometimes he would have got that because looks like James got close to him. It wasn't that different from the Alex Wall penalty away to Concord Rangers. But the referee wasn't having any of it last night, and Taylor got annoyed. And in the end, a couple of minutes from time, he did a pretty dreadful tackle and out of frustration and got booked. But that could have been interesting if they had gone one up from a penalty, but it'd have still been down to 10 men and you'd have fancied us, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think the way we sort of still found space, even with 10 men, I think we would have been all right in the end.
Yeah. This cup, we're trying to get it over with by the end of next week, aren't we? So we're in it again on Saturday, home to Sutton United. They're not doing much this season, are they?
No, they're sort of just languishing around the top of the National League. It's, you know, nothing that big at all. It's not like it's a very stern test, but I mean, it just depends if they're going to take it seriously, doesn't it? If they're going to put out a first, you know, team, then it's going to be a real challenge. But if they look to rotate, we've got a chance. Obviously, we played them in pre-season as well. Got a 0-0 draw. So, I mean, I'll take that on Saturday, even though we can't. So.
Yeah, well, they're second in the table. They won, 3 in a row, but then we lost home to Chesterfield in their last game. It was postponed last night. Yeah, it couldn't be much tougher, could it? I mean, being at home doesn't really make a lot of difference, except that we will have a crowd there.
Yeah, hopefully that makes a difference. I mean, of course, it's the return of Ben Wyatt to Clarence Park, many fans' favourite. So, yeah, it's a real test, though, for Ian, and I think he'll be relishing it just to see how these players can step up another level if they can. You know, put in another good performance against Sutton, even if they do lose, you're still going into the Boxing Day game against Hemel confident. You know, Saturday is just a throw of the dice, see what we can get from it.
It's funny, Ian's got a poor record in the trophy with us. He's only once won 2 games in the same season. It'd be quite a scalp if he does it this time. Who knows? Do you fancy us, Lee?
Fancy us to be competitive, absolutely. You've only got to look at the quality of players that Sutton have got. You know, Harry Buterman's still banging in goals for them, and he's not even a striker. So you can see the class that they're going to have. As Jake said, I don't know whether they've got a squad deep enough to warrant having major wholesale changes, but you know it's going to be a tough match. But at home, with a crowd, you know, things are different this season. I know you've sort of touched on it. The prices is one thing, but the quality of football that's being displayed is really excellent. And you'd hope that we are competitive and cause them some problems.
Last night, our third goal was our 100th home goal in the FA Trophy. And the own goal on Saturday was a 100th home goal in our favour. There you go.
There we go. We're winning. I mean, Dave, this unbeaten run, how long has it been since we've done something as long as like this? 11 games in the league anyway.
Oh, it's in the report, which I'm not allowed to do on Saturday's game. Look on the Stallman's review. You'll find it there, Jake. But more interesting than that is we're going into Christmas, top of the table, for the first time since, 1984?
I mean, it's the perfect present, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope Hemel don't spoil it. We're on about the highest points total this stage of the season since 1911-12 season, because we dropped 2 points against Oxford last week, or whenever it was. We've actually dropped behind the 2002-03 season, but that season tailed off. So if we do beat Hemel, we're back up to our best start to a season for 109 years.
That's not bad, is it? How does it compare to 05-06, the promotion season?
Oh, it was nice and sunny most of the time. Give me some warning on these questions, Jake. For sake.
To be fair, mate, you've been handling it quite well. I mean, you know, there's nerds and then there's you know, so it's a whole nother level, Tabs.
05-06 season, after 11 games, we've got 8 points more now than we had then.
Okay.
So, because we didn't make a great start, we lost the first 2 games that year, of course. And you know, Colin thought he'd give the others a chance by losing those games. Then we got going, didn't we? And terrific run later on.
What a season! What a season!
I mean, that's the thing. Obviously, you know, this season is so strange in the way it's laid out that there's still so much football to come. That being top at Christmas doesn't really mean much at all this year, does it?
Are you concerned about the level of sort of fixtures we're going to have to play after in the new year? Because there's going to be a situation where, remember, I think there was a team about 3 or 4 years ago had to play 3 games in a week. I think it was Paul, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's no county custody, and that makes such a difference. No county.
Yeah, it does. It does, but there's still going to be a period. There has to be a period when there's going to be a Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. You know,
fixtures. It's not going to happen much unless we get a lot of cancellations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think middle January we've got a couple of games. We've got Welling and Dulwich both away on a Tuesday night in consecutive weeks. Of course, it depends on how we get on Saturday as well. If we progress through to the next round of the trophy, obviously you've got to consider that. But
that's the spirit, Jacob. Yeah, that's the spirit, mate.
But obviously the season is now running till the end of May, isn't it? So they have extended it quite a bit. So I think the main thing is hopefully we don't sort of face too many sides that pick up COVID issues. Hopefully most teams sort of stay COVID clear. And of course, hopefully the Saints do, because if we get 2 weeks knocked out, then suddenly we're going to be playing catch up again.
I'm a bit worried we haven't got a free Saturday to slip in the trophy final at Wembley.
Oh, dear. Oh,
that'll do.
We can play it on the same day Concord play theirs. I mean, there's probably going to be some... we can travel together.
Not allowed to.
No, of course.
Right, there was a few other trophy games last night. Well, almost everybody in our division played. 9 of our lot went out last night, so they've eased their fixture congestion. Just like that. Good idea, boys. 3 have still got to play because various reasons they didn't play last night, but 9 also went through. But one of the teams from our division that's got through, not in our division, that's got through, Welling Garden City, home to Aldershot Town on Saturday.
It's an absolutely superb draw. Fair play to them. Brilliant result last night, and that's going to be a brilliant day out for them. I think I saw on Elliot Bailey's Instagram last night of him celebrating with a bottle of champagne in the changing rooms. So hopefully he's sobered up by Saturday.
I don't know what's more disappointing, the fact that he's spraying around the champagne rather than drinking it, or the fact you actually follow him on Instagram in the first place, mate, to be fair to you.
He's a mate from school. I mean, so, you know, sort of have to. But, you know, fair play to Welling, and I think they'll get a brilliant attendance down there for that. You know, I know people talk about the magic of the FA Cup, but, you know, still there's magic of the trophy when you've got ties like that.
How about this, Lee? Mates at school. Elliot's playing Aldershot Town in the FA Trophy Saturday. After this, Jake's playing 6-a-side on some park somewhere.
There's levels, isn't there, David? There's levels, mate. And unfortunately, young Jacob with his homeless beard, mate, has now found his playing park football.
Thank you very much.
When Welling beat Burgess Hill Town last night, they had a bigger crowd than us. They had 216 to our 174. They done well. 216 at £16.50. Well done, boys. Some of the ones that went out, Slough Town, their season just won't get going. They lost on penalties home to Dartford last night. It's just not working for them.
No, and I mean, for times last season, they looked absolutely brilliant. Obviously got into the playoffs and lost, but it was a brilliant campaign for them. Like you say, though, there's a couple of teams just, they're surprised with how they've started this season. Slough, Bath, you know, it's just, they're not going, and they need to start kicking on at some point.
Yeah. Well, Bath won actually last night. It beat Chelmsford City, and I think they won in the league away from home Saturday as well. So maybe Jerry Hill's lot are starting to pick up because they had problems with COVID, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, as we know, quite a few teams have had COVID issues now and sort of had their 2-week breaks and stuff. So I think it's given a few teams actually the chance to restart. I mean, Braintree, Billericay as well, who've had a break and now got a new sort of management team in. So, you know, sometimes these COVID breaks can actually be an advantage.
Of course, you had Tonbridge who were going on quite nicely, mid-table-ish, and Eastbourne who were going well towards the top. They lost Saturday, and they lost again in the trophy, and Angels lost in the trophy as well. And that, well, Hampton, but they've cleared their way for a good run in the league. They pulled out because they got COVID problems, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Their game after ours was called off. Apparently, one of their coaches turned up to training on, I think, the Tuesday night, had a cold, and then yeah, it was COVID. Or I think one of his close contacts has COVID. So yeah, that's just the risk of it, isn't it? You know, like we talked about this a few weeks ago. These players and coaching staff cannot isolate themselves from the rest of the world like you can do in the Premier League, Championships, League One and League Two. These players have lives to live. The staff do, and what can they do about it?
So Oxford City, that game last week, it wasn't thrilling, was it? But they were just starting to get a run before that. They won Saturday. They won away to Welling United in the trophy last night. They look like they could be one of the sides to come through.
So are you saying there are title challengers now?
Well, no, second place. Park was wrapped up, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I've already ordered the open top bus.
You mentioned Elliot Benyon last week, and Lee said because of trouble with the feed, he had that shot about 4 times in a minute. But we didn't mention Harvey Bradbury. Of course, he's there as well.
He's there, and he didn't really do much.
He came on the sub, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, fair play to him though. I mean, he's bounced around a few football league clubs, hasn't he? Watford, Millwall, was he at Oxford United as well? So obviously someone.
The nice ones then.
Yeah, obviously someone in football definitely isn't his dad is getting these teams to sign him. So, but hopefully he does all right at Oxford United, Oxford City. They're all the same.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're all in Oxford sort of area. Jake, well done. Some interesting games in the trophy, but who cares? The league's a big thing. Right, have we got anything else? We must have.
That's it, mate. Wins. Here we go.
Right, Jake's asked you about this before, but the crowd's coming back. How's it affecting your clubs?
The clubs I deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, different sort of variants, mate, really. The one thing that I've noticed, bizarrely, I know this is not really a relation to City, but the clubs in Scotland are absolutely loving it. You know, the fans are baiting at the bit. They've got full capacities every single week. One thing I noticed, though, in the programme notes from last night, Lee Pay said that they're slowly building up to a new capacity at Clarence Park of over 1,000. And I remember speaking to Tom Norman at the game on Saturday, and he said that there's always going to be an extra little bit of incentive. If clubs do the basics well in terms of COVID safety, they can have a few more fans, and the bar gets raised a little bit higher. I think fans are going to fluctuate anyway. Thing is, St Albans, our crowds will fluctuate with success. It's fact. But the fact of the matter is that we are still playing some fantastic football. And if we can get to the higher echelons of the 800s, 900s, even 1,000 bracket, that's going to be fantastic. That's a good building block. And the one thing I did notice about crowds on Saturday is that there were a load of new faces. You know, some real new families, and it's good to see. It is good to see because, you know, success breeds confidence, and with the players playing in front of nigh on 1,000 people every single week, then I know we sort of joked about it. The title aspirations that we all hold now, they could become a reality.
Of course, in theory, we could have 2,000 down there.
Yeah,
you could.
Yeah, it's just not.
Well, Saturday was always going to sell out. It was our first game. We're top of the table. Well, we were due to go to the top of the table. Yeah. Everything about it was attractive, wasn't it? Everything about last night was unattractive, really. Sutton again, attractive trophy, a bigger team. You like to think the crowd again?
I think the bigger team lure will get a lot of fans actually going on Saturday. Forget the trophy. I think a lot of fans will see this again. Saturday before Christmas, the kids have finally broken up as a big team. And to be fair to Sutton, actually, they've got a big reputation in non-league, and a lot of people know about them because of their FA Cup run a couple of years ago, playing Arsenal on live TV. And I think, you know, it will be a decent crowd, actually. Maybe not capacity, but I think it's not going to be far off. And as you say, Lee, sort of building up the capacity. It'd be interesting to see what our limit is for Boxing Day against Hemel. I think the club will want to get that as high as they can.
Who? They still going?
Apparently they are. I'm not sure really why anyone's bothering, but anyway. And you want to get that as high as possible. So if Saturday goes well, maybe the club will be able to get quite a good crowd in for Boxing Day, which I suspect will probably sell out again, but also, we haven't touched upon this quickly, the whole tiering situation now is knocking right on our door. And the tiers have gone to a weekly review. So on the 23rd December, if suddenly they move to St Albans for tier 3, apart from our 5-day break, whatever that means, does that mean we can't have fans Boxing Day? It's the whole tier thing is really messing with clubs now.
Really, we should ask to play both games at Hemel at Vauxhall Road. Then it's 6 points in the bag, isn't it? It's incredible. 7 games, won 5, lost 2. At home, what is it? 1 point and 5 defeats. Well, that's consistent. I'll give them that.
It is consistent, and you've got to respect that.
What?
Yeah, any idea of Dean Snedker? Because he took a knock, didn't he, in their last game?
Yes, I think he was back in the side though, so I think he'll be all right. I think they had an outfielder go in goal. But Dean seems to be back in the side, so he's going to have an absolute blinder against us on Boxing Day.
Have to.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll talk about that in our next pod. But yeah, I mean, the tier thing it's really difficult for clubs. Obviously, all the London clubs now suddenly can't have fans again, and the Essex clubs. So that grant and that funding from the National League is going to be even more important now.
Yeah, right. Of course, Sutton United, there's only one team above them in the National League, which is that lot there, Torquay United. You probably can't see it. It's incredible. I know it's before you two, but it's 40 years ago. On the 13th of December, we played them in the FA Cup. And for some reason, that's a bigger game than Bristol City, maybe because we didn't get stuff 9-2. But it's incredible. I think 40 years ago, and you think it's just flying by. That was John Lapwood's first game. Lee Page, he used to be a supporter on the terraces. I don't know where he's gone now. And people like that, it's their first game, and it was such a great day. It kept them down there. Maybe Sutton's going to be another one, slightly different stature.
Memories like the corner of my mind.
Deary me.
You'll be doing this to your grandchildren, Lee, eventually.
Good Lord. Can you imagine?
You'll be telling them about White Hawk Away in 2014.
Yeah. There was this barren land on the edge of the south coast. No one dared go. But I was there, me and 5 hardy souls.
Or you can tell them about the time you broke your toe at Woking. So, I mean, there's so many options, mate.
Yeah, there's plenty of ammo there. Don't get me wrong, mate.
You really broke a toe at Woking.
Oh, it's a long story, mate. Long story.
We've got another 6 minutes yet.
It's definitely not family appropriate, I don't think.
Wouldn't it? Where was his toe at the time?
So a couple of their younger supporters decided to partake in a few light ales and came to join us on our terrace. And there's a bit of pushing and shoving, and I was sort of playing Mr. Kissinger, believe it or not, trying to sort of, calm the peace. I felt very sorry for one of our Norwegian branch, Rolf, because he was in like a wheelchair, and there's just people like bodies sort of flying over him. And it was like the scuffle stopped. Next thing I looked down, and my toe had just sort of split in two where I'd caught it on the terrace. I mean, I was wearing flip-flops, which was entirely my own fault, being like a balmy sort of summer's evening. So I spent the night in hospital because my toe decided to, very nice.
Well, playing Woking back in the late 80s and early 90s, it was a profitable experience. We didn't get many points, but they always used to pelt us with coins. So, fill your boots and go home.
I believe Aldershot were renowned for that as well, weren't they? Going into the away end there.
Aldershot, yeah. Our coats, our hoods, we'd often have about, 3 or 4 quid in the back of our hoods by the end of the game. So, God bless Aldershot. That'll be nice.
Tragically, with those two clubs, it was just coins. When we attacked the opposition, we chucked notes at them.
Yeah, speak for yourself, mate. Can't see you. There you go, have a 20.
Oh, dear.
Did you get to the end?
Yeah, should we
I think so.
should we do our scores for the Sutton
Yeah,
game?
did we do it last week? Last night, I'm not sure.
I don't think we did. No,
No.
I don't know. We might have done.
Well, keep talking. Work out what you're going to do, and I'll have a look.
Jacob, what do you think, mate? Saturday.
I will go.
What was that noise?
I don't know. I will go 2-1 Saints.
Who?
2-1 Saints.
Dear me. Okay. Well, I'm going to go for a 1-0 City, I think.
Ooh, another clean sheet.
I think so. Why not?
We're talking of clean sheets. Michael Johnson's played, 13 games, 8 clean sheets. That's ridiculous. He's going to bankrupt the club if he's on a clean sheet bonus.
He's doing his job, though, Tavs. That's what you say, mate. He's doing his job.
Yeah, don't pay him to do that well.
To be fair, he didn't have much to do last night, did he? So
no, but I thought Cray, everything went good. They were a footballing side, but they tried to play football. Even at the start of the second half, and they were down to 10 men. And of course, we were vastly superior to them, no doubt about that. But they tried to play football the right way. Full credit for that. Right, so we've got your predictions for Saturday. They look spot on to me.
What did we say?
You want to guess the crowd as well?
Oh, crowd for Saturday, I will go 6-10.
No, sell out for me.
What, 700 again?
700 again. I think so, yeah. Yep.
We might be able to go then. See you at Harpenden.
On that note.
Right.
Come on, Jake, wind it. I've got to go put my dinner on, for goodness sake.
Well, Dave's got to put his microwave meal in. Thank you for joining us once again. You can always email us with the email in the description. Again, if you just need someone to talk to, Dave is there for everyone. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll speak to you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah.